We are Siouxland proud. This is KCAU 9 News at 10.
And good Monday evening. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Tim Seaman.
And I'm Sophie Erber. A southeastern South Dakota school is looking for community input tonight on a project that would address space issues in their school district.
KCAU 9 reporter Tyler Euchner tonight takes a look at how the Elk Point Jefferson School District is hoping to deal with those problems. It's all in our top story tonight at 10.
Thanks, Tim and Sophie. In 2022, Elk Point Jefferson Community School officials attempted to pass a school bond to address space issues for their cafeteria and middle school. However, it didn't pass. Years later, and the school district has made some changes and hopes to get the okay from the community.
Over the last 2 years, the school board has been working basically tirelessly to find some initiatives that we can do to address some of the needs that we need without going to a bond and raising school district taxes.
More than 50 years ago, Elk Point, South Dakota opened its doors to the town's families, and years later, Jefferson's residents as well. With the two towns joined together under one school district, students' attendance has continued to grow, which officials say is both a good and bad thing for the Elk Point Jefferson School District.
During lunchtime, we have anywhere from kindergarten through 12th grade students using this small area here, which is about my wingspan across. With the space concerns, we start lunch at about 10:50 and end lunch at about 1:30. So we have a very long lunch period.
However, the cafeteria is only one problem, as the school is desperately in need of space for students.
We have 8 classrooms behind me, and this houses our middle school. Right now we have about 140 students. Over the last 5 years, we've been anywhere from 140 to 175 students that are contained within the 8 classroom hall behind me.
To address both issues, Elk Point Jefferson officials have found a way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
What if we actually add on the lunchroom and then remodel that space, the existing lunchroom space, for educational space? And that's what we'll present on tomorrow night. The lunchroom would actually be an expansion project of a new kitchen and then a new multi-purpose cafeteria space. Where the kitchen was, right now it's slated to be a middle school science room.
All district officials need now is the approval from the community to begin the next stage of planning. And one parent of 3 says he's all for it.
I really like to see the kids have everything they need to be successful, and if improving the school makes this community school more successful, that's an amazing thing.
Folks who have questions or want to learn more about the proposals can attend the special board meeting tomorrow, 7 p.m. at the EPJ High School gym. Tyler Eichner, KCAU 9 News.
Well, Kip Taylor, the wife of Woodbury County Supervisor Jeremy Taylor, will spend 4 months, behind bars.
That's right. She was sentenced earlier this afternoon after being found guilty on dozens of voter fraud related charges last November. She was accompanied to federal court today in Sioux City by members of her family, including 2 children. Her husband, Jeremy, also attended today's sentencing, but arrived separately. Once in court, Chief U.S. District Judge Leonard Strand sentenced Taylor to 4 months in federal prison and 4 months of home confinement.
Additionally, Taylor will serve 2 years supervised release beginning at the time of her home confinement and pay a $5,200 special assessment. Now, Taylor could have been sentenced to 5 years in prison on each of 52 federal charges. Attorneys for Kim Taylor have 2 weeks to file an appeal. Jeremy Taylor, meanwhile, was not charged, but rather named as a unindicted co-conspirator. He continues to serve on the Woodbury County Board of Supervisors.
Plans to add more residential housing downtown received a boost at Monday's City Sioux Council meeting. Council members voting unanimously on a resolution to help get a downtown building renovated. Lavy Bay Developments Incorporated will now apply to the Iowa Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program for almost $578,000 in investment tax credits and sales tax refunds. Those funds will then help renovate the upper 3 floors of the Bay State building, also home to rebos on historic 4th Street. 27 market rate, 1 and 2 bedroom apartments are also planned.
We're doing some housing there, in which obviously downtown housing is still very popular, so hopefully that'll work out and it'll be successful.
According to city documents tonight, the developers plan to invest more than $8 million into those residential units. Applications for this year's Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program due soon, June 10th.
Plans for another fast food restaurant in the Northern Valley Crossing District are also moving forward. Council members voting unanimously on the sale of about an acre of land at 3100 Floyd Boulevard for $500,000. Now, the site will be home to the city's 7th McDonald's restaurant. The developer says that they will hire around 72 full and part-time employees, along with spending another $4.9 million in capital expenditures for that project. Mayor Scott says that one of the reasons for picking the McDonald's proposal was because they were on board when the council first started taking bids.
They put together a sheet, and we'll collect $17,000 a year more off of McDonald's than we will collect off an Arby's in sales tax. Well, I mean, you only have to be about 4 years down the road and you're ahead on that deal. So, plus McDonald's will pay more real estate taxes than an Arby's, and that doesn't mean we don't want Arby's up there. I'd love to have an Arby's up in my neighborhoods, but we just have to figure a place for them.
Proposals also were made by Honey Badger Development, that's the Domino's franchisee, along with AES Restaurant Group LLC, the local Arby's franchisee. Also from council today, a pedestrian bridge connecting Sioux City and Dakota Dunes is a step closer to reality. In a vote of 5-0, council members approved a memorandum of agreement with several groups, including the Army Corps of Engineers, all in regards to phase 2 of a Big Sioux pedestrian bridge and that crossing. The memorandum is needed before a permit can be issued to go ahead with that pedestrian bridge replacement. That bridge is located near Two Rivers Golf Club in Woodbury County and crosses into Union County, South Dakota. Now, as part of Phase 2, the current bridge, not used in decades, will be torn down to make room for a new bridge.
Today, the Oakview Group, or OVG, officially assumed management of food and beverage services at the Sioux City Convention Center downtown. OVG will also play a big role in collaborating on event attraction, marketing and sponsorship growth, and food and beverage enhancements. The Convention Center expands the contract with the company has with the city of Sioux City now. OVG manages several properties in the city. That includes the Tyson Event Center and the Orpheum Theater. Back in January, City Council approved the award to the management group, OVG. This, of course, all after the city ended its contract with Kinseth Hospitality. That was due to complaints over food quality and service.
You've probably heard of the spelling bee, but now the National Civics Bee has come to Sioux City, aiming to get more young children to take part in their communities and engage in civics. 20 middle school students from around Siouxland competing this evening in 3 rounds, answering multiple choice civics questions. The competition demonstrated their knowledge in that area, along with discussing how students would be able to solve a problem impacting their own community. Now, this is the first ever National Civics Bee to be held in Sioux City, which was hosted by the Siouxland Chamber of Commerce.
I was excited because I like doing stuff like this kind of, so I was really excited when I found out that I was going to be a finalist. It was really exciting to hear.
And I think it's really important that people are getting into civics, and to have these young people, again, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, talking about maybe a problem they see in their community and what they think could be done to help solve it. I mean, it's very exciting.
And the top 3 winners from tonight's event will move on to Des Moines in August to compete at the state level. And we have those winners to share with you tonight. First place went to Michael O'Mara. Livy Bleener, who you just heard from, was second, and David Hinman finished third. The event this evening took place at the RE/MAX City Center downtown. Congratulations to those folks in the chamber with a brand new event.
Really exciting stuff, and I think it's amazing to get young people involved in solving their own community's
Indeed.
problems. We will keep you posted, of course, on how they do at the next level.
Maggie's with us now to give us an update on the soggy start to this week.
Yeah, we're finally starting to dry things out, not seeing much more of that rainfall, at least for tonight. We are still pretty cloudy out there as we take a peek out on the Port New Welding Ho-Chunk Center camera this evening. Still seeing some pretty wet surfaces out there, those roads still with plenty of rain on them, so definitely take it a bit easier out there tonight. Be a little careful on those roads. 40 degrees is that temperature right now in Sioux City, feeling like 40 degrees, so not really dealing with much of a wind chill there. Those visibilities still down in some spots, looking at 6 miles there in Norfolk, 0.2 in Neely, and then also at 10 here in Sioux City. So those visibilities have come back up for us. And as we take a look at those temperatures in the 30s and 40s, 37 here there in Lamar's, 36 in Esterville, and 35 through Bloomfield and Neely, in the upper 30s there through southeast South Dakota. So still feeling a bit cool out there. Those humidities still at between about 90 and 100%. So still pretty humid out there tonight. Going to see some potential for a bit of fog to develop, but we do have these pretty gusty winds out of the northeast there between about 10 and 20 miles an hour. So that should help kind of mitigate some of that fog development. Shouldn't see too much of it, just some patchy fog in some spots. And you saw that on that visibility map. We are seeing winds 16 miles an hour in Esterville, 16 there in Skema, even at 18 miles an hour out in Yankton. And those gusts right around that too. 19 mile an hour gust in Wayne, 14 mile an hour gust in Cherokee, and 24 mile an hour gust there in Lamar's. Have seen quite a healthy amount of rainfall in some spots, 0.62 inches there in Crofton, a little over half an inch there in Jefferson, and 0.52 inches in Hardington, Nebraska, 0.37 there in Westfield, and here at the Sioux Gateway Airport, 0.34 inches. Also at the KCAU-9 studio, did see about 0.37 inches, so a little bit more than what we saw down there at that sensor at the airport, but again, we are seeing that rain has come to an end. Just seeing some cloud cover out there, but starting to clear that out too, and we'll continue with that clearing through our Tuesday afternoon, although still keeping a bit of cloud cover and some spotty showers, maybe an isolated storm or two tomorrow evening, but not many people will see that. We will see those kind of hit or miss showers and storms, and then we see more clearing into our Wednesday. Still a bit of cloud cover heading into Wednesday afternoon, but that quickly clears out as that piece of low pressure, that little piece of energy, works its way out of the area, but not expecting a whole lot more rain through our Tuesday morning. This is 0.3 inches, few hundredths of an inch to maybe a couple tenths of an inch of rainfall. And for tonight, 32 degrees. The scattered showers continuing, but really seeing that activity come to an end for the most part for now. Do remain partly cloudy, those winds gusting to 25 miles an hour at times, and with those temperatures right around freezing, could see some wintry mix starting to develop in there too. 52 degrees for tomorrow, partly cloudy and drier, although we do have that chance for some afternoon and evening spotty showers and storms. And then those 50s heading into the rest of the week continuing. Plenty of sunshine building back in and getting into those mid 50s for us Thursday. Mid 60s for us on Friday, and then 70 by Saturday. Plenty of sunshine out there, and then getting some shower and storm chances in for us as we head towards the end of next weekend into next week as we approach that much anticipated solar eclipse. Unfortunately, might have some cloud cover to contend with, but might still get a peek of that with some breaks in those clouds. However, still seeing chances of showers and storms heading into next week.
To look into where we get those glasses. I used to know, I think some local stores do sell them, but
I actually saw them at Casey's.
Okay,
Yeah.
good tip.
I thought I heard the museum may have them too. That's
a good idea.
Not official, but might be worth checking. Thanks, Maggie.